It's me, Dream Factor. And you are now made it. You have now made it into the progress portal. And I think I'm starting to get kind of good at this. Yeah. Getting kind of good at it. So I was like, oh yeah, this nigga Reed, he's super bored. I don't did it. I done everything that you can do. I don't did all the clubs. My entire 20s. I done did all the traveling. I done stayed where I wanted to stay at. I've lived in Vegas, lived in Miami, stayed in New York. It's nothing else but for me to chill at home and relax with a badass PYT. The this life is good right now. Life is good. Life is good. I got a few hiccups. I got a few aunties still trying to reach out. But let a young nigga live. Let a young nigga live. I ain't even hit. I'm still in my 30s, late 30s. Let a young nigga live. But we're going to get right to it without no delay. Let's get it.
Oh, for real? No, we not making this shit up. Look at her. She gonna put It's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy.
Animal facts that almost nobody knows. Number 1, spider. The funnel web spider has fangs strong enough to pierce human skin. But here's the frightening part. They can even reach the bone. Number 3, the dragon moray eel. The dragon moray eel hides a terrifying secret. Inside its throat is a second set of jaws. And that's not all. When it bites, that second mouth shoots forward and pulls its prey deeper inside. Number 4, the yellow boxfish. The boxfish, known as Ostracion cubicus, is small but deadly. When stressed, it releases a toxin capable of killing all the other fish in an aquarium within minutes.
This is freaky. Zero AI here, 100%. Real land could be dangerous.
I'm not liking that.
This haunting video raises more questions than it answers. The clip begins with a homeowner engrossed in a video game. But the focus quickly shifts when the homeowner, having long harboured suspicions that his residence is haunted, questions aloud.
Why do you keep turning off the TV? Ooh.
Before viewers can ponder the question, a rocking chair in the room eerily begins to move, all on its own.
Hey, hon. Come here. Look. I don't think it's just down here.
As if this scenario wasn't unsettling enough, take a look at what happens next.
Oh, I'm not liking this. Oh, wow. Wait.
Soy yo. Antes de que todo se fuera al carajo.
Oh, shit.
One patient from a hospital in the Philippines thought he was hallucinating, but then his phone camera proved that he was not. Near the bed of another patient, a tall, dark figure was standing still, as if looking down at him. It looked exactly like a grim reaper waiting to take him away. No one else in the room reacted or seemed to notice it at all, despite feeling scared. He was also relieved that it wasn't there for him, just like he had guessed. That patient did not make it, and after that, the reaper vanished too.
Reality is fake, and I can prove it in 60 seconds. 1. Vision delay. You're living in the past right now. Light takes time to reach your eyes, and your brain takes about 80 milliseconds to process it. So you never see the present. You see what already happened no matter what. Next is touch. You've never touched anything in your life. Atoms are 99.99% empty space. What you feel as a solid is just electric charge pushing back. Even now, you're floating a fraction above your seat. You've never made contact with anything in your life. Next is colour. Colour isn't real. real. Objects don't have colour. When light hits things, it bounces a wavelength at your eye and your brain invents red. Colour only exists inside your head. Out there, it's just waves. And the colour magenta, no wavelength of light exists for it. It's created in our brain from red and blue signals. It's entirely made up and doesn't exist. Now we have time. Time isn't constant. Your head is aging faster than your feet right now. The further you are from Earth, the faster time moves for you. It's all because of gravity. Gravity and time are the same phenomenon. When mass curves space and time, it curves them both together.
I swear I can see.
Ooh, stop it.
I'm not liking that.
This haunting video raises more questions.
I swear I can see.
Ooh, stop it.
I'm not liking that.
This haunting video raises more questions than it answers. The clip begins with a homeowner engrossed in a video game.
I'm trying some of those videos.
But never know.
Wow.
What did he just say?
But never know.
What exactly is it we won't know? Anyone with kids can tell you that they often parrot back what they've heard other people say, which is precisely what makes this so unusual.
Yeah, we're in space acts and quietly just do whatever we want.
We can do what we want, and they'll never know.
Never know. No.
Drop your thoughts in the comments down below.
That's crazy.
Stanley Kubrick helped NASA fake the moon landings, was told not to tell anyone, tried to tell us anyway, then tried to expose the elite, mild classic king rings around the world, but ended up 6 feet under before he did. He was one of the most famous directors in history, known as the most detail-oriented and hidden message visionary in all of filmmaking. He only made a handful of movies during his time, and they're still all being meticulously studied by movie buffs to this day, still finding hidden meanings in them all the time. Every single tiny object, angle, lighting, positioning, words, effects, zooms, backgrounds, everything in his movies is extremely intentional and all has a very specific purpose. Now in the 60s, Kubrick set out to create his first mega hit project, 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is widely regarded as the greatest sci-fi movie ever made, and it kinda didn't make sense with how advanced it was for its time. This movie came out in 1968, like this is how sci-fi movies look like back then. Then out of nowhere, this movie comes out and looks like that. Like some scenes from this movie are so crisp and realistic, they literally look like they were filmed in 8K yesterday. But this movie came out almost 60 years ago. Now, theories went around that Kubrick actually received shadow funding from the US government and NASA to shoot this movie as a sort of test run to see how accurately they can depict outer space on TV screens. And well, Stanley Kubrick fucking nailed it, to say the least. Receiving access to special cameras and equipment that no one else had to show
Conspiracy theories, did that make you?
Be seen as art. It's like they intentionally glorify being dead and demonic. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get why.
Humans were never meant to see.
If you believe the Earth is a globe, then you are lost in the Matrix and have fell for their programming. How does the sun supposedly have a radius of 432,000 miles? Yet every sunset and every midday, the sun size changes dramatically. If the sun was truly that big, then it would not change so dramatically. This is because the sun is a local entity. North is the center of the Earth. This is why all compasses will point to the north, because this is the most magnetic point of Earth. This is the center of the electromagnetic field. South is anything outward from the center. So that is south and that is south. East is right around the center. If you are here and you go east, you would end up in the same position. West is the opposite. If you are here and you go left around the center, then you would end up in the same position. So this is how the sun truly works. This is why we have 4 seasons. We have 3 tropics. We have the Tropic of Capricorn, the Equator, the middle ring, and the Tropic of Cancer, the inner small ring. The sun rotates doing a big circle into small circle, then back out from the small circle back into the big circle. The northern people are the people below this ring, which is the equator, the northern. When the sun is in the small ring, the Tropic of Cancer, this is now the summertime for the northern people. But then it spirals back out to the equator, which is Libra, and then back out to the Tropic of Capricorn, the outer ring. That is now the winter time for the northern people, and the summertime for the people in these outer lands. Then the sun, once it's done in the winter time in Tropic of Capricorn, it will slowly spiral back inward and repeat this process every single year.
Things humans were never meant to see.
Scientists are saying that monkeys are officially in the Stone Age.
Whoa!
Like they're officially in the Stone Age now.
So they're about to evolve.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Real Planet of the, are we gonna get Planet of the Apes real life?
This is scary, bro. This is scary.
There has to be somebody sick in the world that wants a Planet of the Apes to happen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There has to be someone.
Yo, there has to be like some crazy elite that just wants to see like entertainment.
Right? Or what if that's predictive future? Because you hear about the virus that's going around recently?
Oh yeah, what's up? The Hansa?
Yeah. So there's a virus going around recently, and yo, what's so crazy? Planet of the Apes was about a virus.
Wait, was it?
Yeah. You don't know the original story?
No, I actually don't.
So Planet of the Apes, what happened was they were researching on a cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And he pretty much gave it to his chimp to test, and it made his chimp smart.
Oh.
So what ended up happening, the chimp, because he became smart, he took that cure and gave it to all the monkeys in the zoo and all the monkey sanctuaries or the primate sanctuaries. That man, every one of them, all the apes,
they all had like a consciousness.
They all had consciousness, and then eventually they were able to speak.
I really feel like,
why do so many people go missing in the U.S. national park system?
kind of
One theory suggests that the government knows that those are danger zones, and it's called containment theory. When you think about it, the whole United States could have been a national park. So why did the United States government pick those specific zones to designate as the national park system? That's no secret that most of those surround mountains. So why are these people going missing at alarming rates? Per capita, more people go missing in the national park system than any other place in the entire world. So what is containment theory? Containment theory is that there are portals and dimensions that we can't quite see or understand. It's one of the theories on why creatures like Bigfoot are so hard to find, is that they might not even live in our plane of existence, but they just come and go through it every so often. You might have saw our video the other night of Dennis Martin, the 6-year-old little boy who was playing hide and go seek with his family, and as soon as he went around this tree, he disappeared forever. And here we are 40 years later, not a single trace of him has ever been found, even though after he went missing, immediately there was more than 1,400 rescuers looking for him. His dad saw him go behind the tree, and he was just gone. So the theory is that when he went behind that tree, he either somehow went into that tree or into one of these portals that just made him vanish. And a lot of people say this is silly and this is, a joke. You can look up right now that NASA 100% confirms that portals exist. They just don't know how they work or where they work. Now, in their theories, they only exist like in outer space. Why would they not exist here? Okay, so we know most national parks are around mountain ranges. Now, mountain ranges are just essentially pushed up rocks from deep within our Earth. And we know, once again, with a scientific fact, that these rocks, these minerals, these quartz, these crystals, they give off electromagnetic fields. So if you're talking about something that's generating electricity, now quartz specifically are really unique, guys. If you did not know it, quartz under pressure emit large enough EMF fields that you can actually just buy a detector from like Ace Hardware, and a quartz will actually register on an EMF field. That's how much energy these things are pushing out when they're put under pressure. Not your ones that are sitting on your counter, but a quartz that's being pushed under pressure. It's like a mountain that's squeezing all those minerals together. They're just blasting EMF fields out. Okay, we don't know what that does to us, our surroundings, what kind of phenomenons that could create, and we'd be silly if we acted like we did know, okay? Many people speculate that that's why the Egyptians had their pyramids built out of these different crazy rocks and stuff, is because they knew how to harness these powers of electromagnetic fields. That might have been how they were able to build their pyramids in the first place. So this containment theory suggests that the government knows that, okay, this whole area, these things appear, this whole area, these things appear, so let's make them national parks. That way you can't build on top of them with all these different neighborhoods and Walmarts and structures. So we know people are still going to go there and they're going to disappear. And that's a risk that it's acceptable to us. We just don't want there to be a whole town built there. And that's the reason why containment theory is that they're trying to limit the amount of people that go through there. And they even say that some of these really high potential portal places is why they limit passes like Havasu Falls.
Like I heard something similar to that, right? That I heard something similar to that, right? Like what they advocate is gold and silver, but they don't advocate any type of conductors like copper and certain stones, and that's done intentionally. So us being electromagnetic beings, we can't like elevate to a higher level. So they'll have us scrambling over scraps that really don't, intensify our electromagnetic force by having us focusing on things that don't conduct any type of energy. But copper, word got out that copper actually intensifies our magnetic structure on a nano level, to where if whatever you want to manifest or whatever you want to put out, an idea, once an idea becomes an idea and it's actually written down, now it becomes something where you can actually touch, right? You think of it, you write it down, and you see it. So now it's something that you can see. It came from a thought in your mind. So now it's something that you can actually see on paper, whatever you written down. And then if it's something that you can see, now you actually work towards it. So now by you actually working towards it, it gives that thought the momentum to actually manifest in real time. But it's things that's out here that help you get there at a quicker rate. Thought I should have. Don't mind me. Sometimes I start rambling.
And you have to have there's a limited amount of passes sold to these places that you can go there. It makes total complete sense. And if you look back at Theodore Roosevelt, the guy who essentially made the national park system, he believed in tons of supernatural stuff, tons of supernatural stuff. Just go look at some of the stuff he believed in. And he's the one that essentially wrote the boundaries for the national parks. Now, if you look at the national park systems, almost every national park has places that are called Devil's Peak, Devil's Bend, Devil's Clutch, all these different names. And people say, well, that's just superstitious, or, whatever. No, any place with the name devil in it that's been named that since the 1800s or prior is because there was mass deaths or mass disappearances. There's no exception, okay? Anything that's got a devil in the name, they wrote that back then because back then people spoke different language and different words, but devil is pretty universal. And they wanted people to see on a map, if something was labeled devil, whatever, it wasn't just a slightly dangerous area. It meant like avoid this area at all costs. Like that is a place we should not go. Some bad stuff has happened there. So they would label on these maps devil because a lot of people didn't read, but a lot of people recognize religious words like Jesus, devil, Satan. They recognize those religious words because they'd grown up seeing them. So that's why so many places are Devil's Peak and all this stuff. Pay attention when things are called devil something and don't be hanging around there by yourself. But back to this portal theory. There's another theory that goes into Dennis Martin with this tree situation. And it's the encased tree theory. And this one gets creepy. This is a rabbit hole for you. The encased tree theory is that the Fae, the nature spirits, when they're out there, sometimes they grow fond of people, especially children. And the Irish and Scottish, they'll tell you the Fae they're a sucker for kids. They like taking them because they're enthralled with them. A lot of them can't have children of their own, supposedly, and they're jealous of like that joy and the energy and their youthfulness because most Fae are ancient. So when he went around that tree, it could have been that there was a Fae or some kind of nature spirit that just sucked him into that tree and he was gone. The amount of people that have been found in hollowed out trees is kind of astonishing. It's kind of creepy if you want to go down that hole. Loggers have cut down trees before and human remains are in them and they're like, how did this even get in here? And the theory is that, at some point they got into a hole in the tree and then the tree's hole grew up or somebody put them in there or whatever over time, or they got stuck in there. There's a million different theories on why this phenomenon has happened so many times in the past. But what remains is sometimes people are just found encased in trees and we don't know why. Okay. Containment theory. It's a great loophole to go down and a rabbit hole to go down. And what's even creepier is when you get into the places that are like extreme no light zones. And some people say it's sky pollution. People go out here and stargaze. There are some places where rescuers have to get permission to use electronics. That includes flashlights, their vehicles, or anything. In a life and death situation, you're telling me that the rescuers have to wait to get permission? To me, that sounds like there is something out there that gets disturbed by the lights and they do not want that thing being pissed off. Here's the crazy side of containment theory. Containment theory is also a belief that the government made a deal with these essentially like supernatural creatures, like we're going to go ahead and get wild, like vampires. And the government essentially said, hey guys, the U.S. National Park System is your hunting ground. You're allowed to hunt there. You can't hunt outside of it. That's where it gets real wild if you want to go down that one too. Just don't take my word for it. It's a wild ride.
Antarctica. There's a huge opening about 30 meters wide, and whatever they're studying is in that hole. Buzz Aldrin went down there, and he was down there because all these leaders of the world had gone down there as well. Buzz put out a tweet, and in this tweet he says, we're facing the ultimate evil down here.
When he said these people are evil, was he talking about the people doing the research or the people inside the cave?
To me, he was alluding to the people inside that cave with that hole in the ice. Then I had a meeting with Major Ed Dames. He was the head of the CIA Project Stargate. He's former CIA intelligence. How did he gain intelligence? Through remote viewing. He disclosed something to me that was mind-blowing. He said, have you remote viewed Antarctica? And he said, let me tell you something. There are people down there that have the ability to come and go as they please, and no country in the world can stop them. He said, but they're down there. There's something going on out there that has to do with something bad. It ain't good.
So what if all these missing and dead scientists aren't missing and dead at all, but rather they're collectively working on a singular project together? The question then no longer is where did they go, but rather what are they doing? And if they're doing so willingly, what makes it worth leaving the world behind to do it? Drawing this conclusion takes a lot of research because you can't simply say, well, the government's just taking them all out because they're about to spill the beans on something important. It now becomes, what are their specific roles and why them? One of my followers did the work to figure that out. And the conclusion is quite compelling. Now, I'll extrapolate on this further, but let's first look at what the specific roles of each of these scientists might be should they be working on a project together. It starts with the mission commander, Major General McCasland. Now, he oversaw classified Air Force space weapons programs, and he was really probably the only one that would have had the access and clearance to run an entire operation like this. Next, we've got the lead plasma physicist, Nuno Lauriero. Now, he was the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, and he'd be responsible for the engine powering a directed energy weapon. Do you know where I'm going with this yet? Next, we have Amy Eskridge, who is a plasma physicist, and she would be responsible for the propulsion and anti-gravity research. Now, she had her own academy for exotic technology that she started with her dad, who was also a NASA engineer. And so she would have the capacity to work alongside Lauriero on non-conventional propulsion systems. Next up, we have Monica Reza, who would be the materials and structural engineer for the project. Now, she worked for JPL as the director of materials processing, and she has a patent on a nickel superalloy that would be very resistant to heat. This could be used for the hull and the weapon casing for this directed energy weapon. After that, we've got Carl Grillmer, and he was a Caltech astrophysicist. He would be responsible for the early warning sensor array that spots inbound threats of asteroids. And by now, you should probably be getting a picture in your mind of what we're talking about here. Then we've got Michael David Hicks, who, remember, was working on the DART missions to deflect asteroids. He would be responsible for calculating the intercept trajectories and deflection physics once a threat is confirmed. Anthony Chavez and Melissa Casillas both worked at
the Masons, they call that a secret society. The Illuminati, they call that a secret society. Yale University has Skull and Bones, which is a very well-known secret society. How can you be well-known and be a secret society? If it's a secret, you should know about it. And I remember when George Bush wrote in his memoirs, or one of his books, he said, when I went to Yale University, I was inducted into a secret society called Skull and Bones. A society so secret, that's all I can say about it.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
And no one ever talks about Skull and Bones, what goes on in that secret society. There's Bohemian Grove, which is a secret society, but it's a real place. Alex Jones actually was there with a camera, and he filmed some of the things that went on. So we know about it. So the first group of secret societies are these well-known societies that nobody talks about what goes on behind closed doors. That's really the secret. But there are other secret societies that nobody knows about because they're really secret. The Brotherhood is one of those. The people in the Brotherhood are the real power brokers behind the scenes. It's not the politicians who run countries. It's not the presidents of corporations that run corporations and make the decisions. It's a shadow organization. Some people call it a shadow government that actually controls and runs the world. And the Brotherhood is at the top of the food chain. But the thing that's unique about the Brotherhood is it teaches its members who have unique abilities how to accelerate those abilities and control those abilities. And then those people, like myself, are then used for humanitarian purposes, according to the Brotherhood, nefarious purposes for those who maybe disagree with some of the principles of those organizations.
This is going to be an hour-long video on some of the most major conspiracy theories that are out there. So we're going to do 10 to 15 minutes on each of the major ones. So buckle in, get comfortable, get ready. Save this video for later so you can watch it while you're getting ready for work or taking a big long dump, either one, okay? So we're going to have a fun little twist tie into this, but don't let it scare you away, all right? And we're going to tie this into animes. And what I mean by that is there are several majorly popular animes that talk about major conspiracy theories in their own storyline. And it overlaps with our conspiracy theories perfectly fine. So if you don't like anime, it's okay. I'm just going to briefly talk about the ones that tie into these major theories. And the first one is the fact that we might be inside of an ice wall and we are actually just living on part of the planet that exists around us. And Antarctica is not a continent that lives way down below us, but it's actually an ice wall that goes all the way around what we have, and we've been lied to for a really long time. What that ties back into is an anime. There's two of them, actually. The first one is Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan, and spoiler warnings, getting ready for you, okay? Attack on Titan, this whole show, you're watching these people that are stuck inside of these city walls, and there's these literal giant monsters that will eat them. And if they ever go outside of the city walls, they're constantly getting chased by these giant monsters and eaten by them. So finally, they get past the giant monsters, and they find that they run into the ocean. And then they sail across the ocean and find out that the rest of the world has lived completely normal, and they, because their ancestors were being punished for a crime, were essentially sent to that island to live on, and then they inhabited the island with monsters to keep them from ever getting off the island. And it's been that way for centuries. And none of them were old enough to remember that happening, obviously, and the story just got lost over time. There is a huge theory that we are prisoners inside of our own little ice wall circle, and that UFOs that you see is actually like our wardens just kind of coming to check on us every once in a while. So the theory of this goes that the ice wall exists, and we are what's called Middle Earth, kind of like Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth. And outside of Middle Earth, outside of the ice ring, there are other continents, there's other countries, there's all this different stuff going on. Admiral Byrd did an expedition down to Antarctica, and this was one of the, the generals of the military, one of the leaders of the military. I don't know why I said that. Admiral Byrd, Admiral, whatever his rank was. He took a whole expedition down there, and he literally got deemed insane and was like cast out and made to be like this crazy person because he wrote about what he saw when he went to Antarctica. And he described on the other side of Antarctica was this vast openness that he could not describe because there was like this massive void, and there was crafts coming in and out of the void. He described there was warm air coming off of it. Just go down that rabbit hole on your own. That's what this video is for. This video is to introduce you into tons of rabbit holes, but then for my anime lovers and fans, or to turn people onto animes, I'm throwing those in there on how they relate to actual conspiracies. So there's a lot of people that believe that Antarctica is not what it's said to be because you are not allowed to go there on your own free willing. And people always jump at me. You can buy expeditions to Antarctica. Yeah, it's a controlled expedition where they take you to a very specific spot. It's a guide who does it. And that's it. You're touching you're grazing the outer skirt of a massive ice wall that we're talking about here.
Do you ever notice Baron doesn't look a lot like his parents? You want to know who he does look like? He just happens to have a very certain resemblance to someone, especially when he was younger. And I don't see that resemblance, but you know who else he looks like? Now, why would that be? Why would this be? I'll tell you why. Because Michael Jackson's kids wouldn't grow up to look like that. They would grow up to look like that. Just like he is growing up to look like that, and clearly came from that. And you might be saying, well, why in the world would Baron look like Diana? Well, why don't we take a look? In an attempt not to upset the very, very kind content moderators, I'm just going to present you some information and let you make up your mind. But before you make up your mind completely, stick around to the end, because I do have a smoking gun. And yes, their features are quite different. But when you switch personalities full-time, a mask doesn't cut it. You need to make some permanent improvements. But cosmetics doesn't change the way you sit. It doesn't change the way you wave. And apparently doesn't even change the way you dress. And did you know that Donald Trump aggressively pursued Diana after her divorce?
Would you believe me if I told you that no nuclear weapon was ever dropped in the history of humanity, and that nuclear weapons don't actually exist? Now, I know this sounds pretty insane, but let's look at the evidence. The first piece of evidence is that if you watch the Nuketown test footage, you'll see something very, very strange. For some reason, everything is getting blown to smithereens, but all of the cameras seem to be perfectly fine. Keep in mind that they are in the middle of a nuclear blast, the most powerful bomb to have ever existed, and then you have a bunch of soldiers larping around pretending there's radiation poisoning and all this stuff. But there's no proof that radiation actually exists in the way we are told it exists. Because if you go to Hiroshima or Nagasaki, you'll see that there is no radiation poisoning lingering. In fact, right after the bomb was dropped, they rebuilt the cities, right after the nuclear fallout. So it doesn't really make any sense to me. If supposedly it is supposed to be uninhabitable for decades or even centuries after the nuclear blast. Not only that, but did you know that Japan was being heavily firebombed throughout the entire war? During World War II? Tokyo was absolutely devastated by firebombing. Well, if you pay very close attention to what Tokyo looks like, and then compare it to Nagasaki and Hiroshima, it's exactly the same. This is Hiroshima. Apparently, after the nuclear blast, It literally looks like carpet bombing, where they drop a series of bombs, destroying and burning some parts, but other parts remain, like all of these power lines that stayed standing. And have you ever thought about what the concept of a nuclear bomb actually is? They're telling us they have the power to split atoms, to warp the fabric of reality itself. But every single picture of an atom is CGI. The human eye has never seen a real atom, not once. So ask yourself, if we can't observe it, photograph it, or prove it exists the way we're told it does, what exactly are we believing in? This video is for entertainment purposes only.
For this curvature test, Grota 1 essentially set 4 lights at around 1 foot above the water and ice. He set up his camera at about 8 miles away from the furthest light and 5 miles away from the closest light. The lights were spread out at about a mile apart. At each location, Grota 1 drilled down to the water just to confirm that he wasn't on some irregular ice formation and to also ensure that his test was on a level surface. The furthest light from the camera was the red light at 8 miles from the camera. The blue light was at about 7 miles, the yellow was at 6 miles, and the orange light was the closest one at 5 miles away from the camera. You should definitely watch his video where he goes into much more detail, but here he is sitting in his truck at a distance of 8 miles from the red light. Notice that the lights are all on the same flat plane. There is no earth bulge and no physical globe horizon. Next, Grota 1 lowered his camera to only 12 7/8 inches above the surface. At that small elevation, the globe horizon would have to be closer than 1.27 miles, and the furthest light, the red one, should have been 29 feet below the horizon. That's taking into account the 1 foot height of the light. Notice how the lights are all on the same flat plane. There's absolutely no supposed bulge here. And if there is no curvature on that frozen lake, then there is no Earth curvature anywhere. Look at the red light. That light should be 29 feet below the horizon. It's just amazing that they got away with this lie for so long.
I never believed.
Finally, Grota 1 brought his camera down even lower to just 5 7/8 inches off of the ice. At this very low elevation, the red light would have to be a whopping 33 feet below the horizon. That's 34 feet minus the 1 foot height of the laser. Without question, the globe fails again. Furthermore, under the official model,
when I started taking my test, my pilot license test, and while during our takeoff, while we were actually going up on elevation, they got this it's like a gauge in there to where so you can see how high you are off the ground and what's your elevation from the highest point of the atmosphere. And what was strange to me is we could put a cup of whatever kind of fluid, like water or Sprite, whatever we had, coffee, we can put it on the dash in the plane, and we turn. And the funny thing is that the item, the liquid didn't spill over. I thought that was kind of fascinating to me, but when you're up above elevation, it's like it's no way that it's any. This is just my own personal opinion. There's no way that it's not any. It's an actual ball. Now, what I do think is that we are a large landmass on a bigger globe, like almost like a soccer ball. And I feel like what we call Earth is just like one of those squares, octagons on the actual ball, but it's plenty other land masses, that's out there. That's what I personally believe, but this is just me.
the globe horizon would have to be closer than a mere 0.86 miles. There is no globe physical curve here blocking your view. As Grota 1 demonstrated on this frozen lake, regardless of the conditions, the Earth is observably, testably, repeatedly, and measurably flat. Yes, we were all lied to. Yes, they control our education. Yes, they control our media. Yes, they control our governments. Yes, they control all of our major institutions. But they still don't own your soul and your ability to think independent.
Summer of 2023, in July, there was a series of videos that went viral on social media. These videos were captured in the Peruvian Amazon in the region of Alto Nanay. They featured a chaotic scene at nighttime in which the villagers were running around, screaming, pursuing something, and discharging their firearms into the jungle. And subsequent interviews with members of the community revealed that they had been assailed by these very strange people, beings, who were dressed in body armor. One of them said reminiscent of the Green Goblin from the Spider-Man movie, and that these assailants could fly, that they could hover a meter off the ground, and that they were impervious to gunfire. She referred to the larger one as the Gringo, and the shorter one, who was still taller than me, as the Peruvian, because when they spoke, the larger one had a Gringo accent, Spanish accent, and the other one sounded just like them. He sounded Peruvian.
Some young boys would see one without its helmet. These boys would see it and run away, as this pelacata tried to aim its light weapon at them unsuccessfully.
Es un negro encapuchado. Y acá tenía su cuchillo grande y acá tenía su lente su láser. Y acá había un chiquitito arrodillado. Estaba así. Estaba haciendo así. Y ahí pasó por ahí. Vamos, cuando he visto una ahí, vamos, corre por allá.
¿Y qué es? ¿Un gringo? ¿Qué cosa?
Era un gringo. Era todo blanco y acá era puro negro, pues fierro. Y acá era pues. Y acá tenía su láser.
Y le veo a las personas que estaban aquí tres. Acá estaban cruzando el jardín.
Más o menos la estatura de estos seres extraños. ¿Son altos, chatos?
Sí, son altas, ¿sabes?
Más de 2 metros.
Hacen más de 2 metros de tener.
Totalmente, ¿no? Acorazados.
Sí, sí, así son equipados.
No
bien.
no se puede distinguir.
No, no se les puede decir, todos son tapados.
He opened fire, hitting one, and then gave chase, continually shooting at them.
Ahí le metí pues, el primer tiro donde está el panel. Ahí estaba. Pues.
As they ran back to their boards and flew off, he tackled one, but was then shot by a light gun.
Parece que me pasó así de candelas. Me perdió de visión de todo. Me tumbó directo al corazón, me quedó privado. Pues. Y yo no podía hacer nada si aquí mis compañeros llegaron después. Pues.
This video would then surface after the encounter. So far, we only have verbal descriptions of these face peelers, but then on September 12th, we'd get a video.
Listen to this complete video. We the People was never all the people. Click the heart if this opened your eyes to the
was
truth.
Talking about the need in our nation for a new politics. And he said,
"We the people. Our Constitution begins with those 3 simple words. Words we've come to recognize mean all the people, not just some."
Now, when I heard that, as a Native man, I had to stop and ask when. I've read our founding documents, I've studied our history, and I had to question, when did we decide as a nation that we the people actually means all the people? Literally 30 lines below the statement, all men are created equal, the Declaration of Independence refers to natives as merciless Indian savages, making it very clear the only reason our founding fathers used this inclusive term, all men, because they had a very narrow definition of who was actually human. Now, a few years later, our founding fathers wrote another document. They started this one with the words, "We the people of the United States." This, of course, is the preamble to the Constitution. However, if you read just a few lines later, down to Article 1, Section 2, section of the Constitution that defines who is and who is not covered by this Constitution, the first thing you will note is it never mentions women. Second, it specifically excludes natives. And third, it counts Africans as 3/5 of a person.
As human.
So who's left?
As a human.
while white landowning men is who could vote.
Yeah, it was for white men.
Now we have to ponder this for a moment. The reason our Constitution was written, the purpose of our Constitution is to protect the interests of white landowning men. So today we act shocked that women earn 70 cents to the dollar. This shouldn't shock us. Our Constitution's working. We act surprised that our prisons are filled with people of color. This shouldn't surprise us. Our Constitution's working. We act outraged that in 2010, the Supreme Court sided with Citizens United and rules that corporations now have the same rights to political free speech as individuals. This is what opens the door for super PACs, unlimited contributions to candidates. This shouldn't surprise us. The Constitution's doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's protecting the interests of white landowning men. So this makes our Constitution a systemically white supremacist and sexist document that assumes the white landowning male has the authority to decide who is and who is not human. See, we would rather believe that the United States of America is racist and sexist and white supremacist in spite of our foundation. But the truth is we are white supremacist, racist, and sexist as a nation because of our foundations, and we don't know what to do with that. There's an Aboriginal leader named George Erasmus, and he says where common memory is lacking, where people do not share in the same past, there can be no real community. If you want to build community, he says, you have to start by creating a common memory. I think this quote is brilliant, and it gets to the heart of our nation's problem with race, which is we don't have a common memory. We have a white majority that remembers a history, a mythological history of discovery, expansion, exceptionalism, and opportunities. And we have communities of color that have the lived experience of stolen lands, broken treaties, slavery, Jim Crow laws, segregation, boarding schools, ethnic cleansing, genocide, internment camps, mass incarceration, and families separated at our borders. We have no common memory, and I think we all can agree that community on a national level is absolutely in the pits. I'm proposing that the United States of America needs a national dialogue on race, gender, and class. A conversation on par with the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions that took place in South Africa, in Rwanda, and in Canada. If we can acknowledge the vile racism, sexism, colonialism, and white supremacy that our founding fathers embedded deep into our foundations, we might just be able to leave a different legacy for our children's, grandchildren's, grandchildren's, grandchildren. A legacy that for the first time, we the people might actually mean all the people.
You look at Bosnia in Europe, there's a pyramid there called the Pyramid of the Sun.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious. Just like the one in Mexico, the Pyramid of the Sun. It's massive. In this valley, there's like 5 massive pyramids, all covered with trees and debris. They started digging this thing out. They said, oh my God, these are solid stone blocks. There's tunnels underneath that are connecting the pyramids, the same exact tunnels that are in Teotihuacan in Mexico, connecting the pyramid structures there. Inside of this one tunnel, they found this gigantic crystal. It's called the K2 megalith. On it is written in runes, an ancient writing. It says, we must stand in defense until we can open the gate. Well, what gate are they talking about? They're talking about the Stargate, to get from wherever they were to get out of this war. There was a war going on, like that second pyramid war I told you about. It wasn't only global, it was interplanetary, because it went to the moon and also to Mars. But that's probably gonna be another podcast.
I know guys who've been in laboratories where they have a toroid or one of these devices, and suddenly they're pulling in spooky looking creatures that look like they came out of the ninth ring of hell. And they literally become 3D and are running around the lab.
So there's another dimension in this room right now.
Right now, they're in the hands of the worst group of sociopaths that have ever lived, and they dwarf, by far, Stalin or Hitler.
How do I even ask this? When we're talking other dimensions, what does that mean?
Well, the universe, let's call it the cosmos, it's described by astrophysicists as sort of this 3D thing.
And they asked Chris Tucker on a podcast, what's up with you being on the list? He didn't do what Jimmy Kimmel said. Jimmy Kimmel said it's a fake list. Who cares what that list says? It's fake. Right. Chris Tucker goes, yeah, I did go on that flight, but we went to Africa and I went with a bunch of diplomats. I didn't know who this fucking Epstein guy was. Like Chris Tucker says, like, I had no idea. We were on this plane. We were going to Africa, do some diplomatic shit, and turns out he's a pedophile. I didn't know.
Well, they definitely got people connected to him by using famous people.
Yes. Yeah.
Because,
so, my point was, Chris Tucker basically confirmed that the list was like legit because he's on it.
Right. There's this dude that was inviting me to this conference once, and he was like, Kanye West is going to be there. I'm like, oh, Kanye West is going to be there. Next thing you know, you're there, right?
Yes.
And if you don't know who's there, and some dude, this was just a conference, it was like a tech conference, and they wanted me to come and talk about like the influence of social media and podcasting and shit. I was like, I talk about that all the time. When am I going to go there? But point is, they were trying to lure me by saying that some famous dude I know was going to be there. So if you hear, like, oh my God, Richard Dawkins is going to be there.
You think it's safe?
Yeah, all these famous people are going to be there. World leaders are going to be there.
What was Stephen Hawking's doing on that list so much?
Stephen Hawkins was a freak. He used to go to strip clubs.
Really?
Yeah, because he could feel, but he couldn't move. You know who told me about that? Eric Weinstein. Weinstein told me about that back in the day. He would go to like swingers clubs. He would lay there, and they all gyrate on him. Because it probably felt good, and he can't move, but he could feel. He had Lou Gehrig's disease, so his body just.
The dicks still get hard though.
I bet. I mean, he's not stupid. He's smart as shit. He just can't move.
It's crazy because to go to the effort to blackmail Stephen Hawking.
Well,
easy that would be. If you really want to.
Have you ever heard conspiracy theories so unbelievable that they still spark debates today? Number 10. The Philadelphia Experiment. The claim that a U.S. Navy ship became invisible during a secret military experiment. Number 9. The Denver International Airport. Some believe the airport.
Let's get right into it. Number 6. The U.S. deliberately infected people with STDs. Guatemala, 1940s. American researchers, funded by the U.S. government, traveled to Guatemala and deliberately infected soldiers, prisoners, and psychiatric patients with syphilis and gonorrhea without telling them, without their consent, and without ever treating most of them properly. The goal was to study how the diseases progressed and whether penicillin could prevent infection. The researcher leading the study, John Cutler, was the same man involved in the infamous Tuskegee syphilis experiment, where black men in Alabama were denied treatment for syphilis for decades, also by the U.S. government, also under the banner of science. The Guatemala experiments weren't discovered until 2010, when a researcher stumbled onto archive documents. President Obama personally called the Guatemalan president to apologize. Around 1,300 people were deliberately infected. Many were never treated. This wasn't a rogue operation by a mad scientist in a basement. It was approved, funded, and operated by official government health bodies. The conspiracy theory that governments have used vulnerable populations as medical test subjects without consent isn't a theory. It's a documented, repeated, bipartisan, historical fact. If your trust in institutions feels slightly wobbly right now, that's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. Number 5. The Ford Pinto Fire Memo. Here's a fun thought experiment. Imagine your company discovers that a design flaw in your product will cause it to catch fire and kill people. Now imagine that instead of fixing it, someone runs the numbers, figures out that paying out wrongful death lawsuits would be cheaper than a recall, and files that calculation away as official policy. That's not a hypothetical. That's the Ford Pinto. In the 1970s, Ford released the Pinto, a compact car with a fuel tank positioned in a way that made it catastrophically prone to rupturing and igniting in rear-end collisions. Internal documents, which became public during litigation, showed that Ford engineers had identified the defect before the car launched. An internal cost-benefit analysis, now known as the Pinto Memo, weighed the cost of fixing the flaw against the projected cost of settling death and injury lawsuits. Fixing it lost. The car went to market. People burned. Ford eventually issued a recall after enough deaths triggered regulatory pressure, but by then the document was already in court and in newspapers. The conspiracy theory that corporations will knowingly let customers die if the math works out in their favor turned out to be a literal memo with actual math in it. Capitalism didn't invent conscience. Apparently, it just runs it through a cost-benefit model first. Number 4. The Gulf of Tonkin incident was fabricated. The Vietnam War escalated because of an attack that almost certainly never happened. On August 4th, in historical style, 1964, the U.S. government reported that North Vietnamese torpedo boats had attacked American destroyers in the Gulf of Tonkin for the second time in 2 days. Congress responded by passing the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which gave President Johnson virtually unlimited authority to escalate military involvement in Vietnam. 500,000 troops, 58,000 American deaths, millions of Vietnamese casualties, all downstream from one incident that the Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara later admitted was probably a radar malfunction and nervous sailors firing at shadows in the dark. Declassified NSA documents released in 2005 confirmed that analysts had manipulated intelligence reports to make the Phantom attack appear real. The first incident on August 2nd likely did happen. The second one, the one that actually triggered the resolution, almost certainly didn't. Johnson himself reportedly told an aide shortly after, with characteristic Texan bluntness, that those sailors had probably been shooting at flying fish. He knew. He escalated anyway. A generation of young men were drafted into a war that was politically justified using an event that was, at minimum, wildly misrepresented, and, at maximum, completely invented. Your government didn't just spin the story. They fed it into a wood chipper and handed Congress the confetti. Number 3. COINTELPRO and sabotaging civil rights leaders. The FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, ran a covert counterintelligence program from 1956 to 1971 called COINTELPRO, and its explicit goal was to infiltrate, discredit, and destroy political organizations the government considered threatening. That included the Communist Party, yes, but also the NAACP, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Black Panther Party, and individual figures like Martin Luther King Jr. The program sent King an anonymous letter after bugging his hotel rooms, compiled a dossier of his personal life, and explicitly encouraged him to commit suicide before his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance. That sentence is real. It is in declassified documents. The FBI, the nation's premier law enforcement agency, attempted psychological warfare against a Baptist minister who was receiving a peace prize. Activists were framed for crimes. Leaders were fed to rival groups to provoke violence. Informants were planted to manufacture internal distrust. The program was only exposed when a group of activists broke into an FBI office in Pennsylvania in 1971 and mailed the stolen documents to journalists. The government tried to suppress publication. Some papers ran it anyway. COINTELPRO wasn't a fringe allegation floated by people in tinfoil hats. It was a systematic, taxpayer-funded campaign to eliminate political dissent by any means available. The conspiracy wasn't theory. It was policy, with a budget and a filing system. Number 2. The sugar industry buried heart disease research. Your sweet tooth has been lied to at an institutional level. In the 1960s, the sugar industry was facing a scientific problem. Researchers were starting to connect sugar consumption to heart disease. This was bad for business, so the Sugar Research Foundation did what any reasonable, multi-billion-dollar industry does when science threatens profits. They paid scientists to redirect the blame. Specifically, they funded Harvard researchers to publish studies emphasizing dietary fat as the primary cause of heart disease, while minimizing sugar's role entirely. The researchers were paid the equivalent of roughly $50,000 in today's money. The funding was never disclosed. The studies were published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 1967 and shaped nutritional policy for decades. The low-fat dietary guidelines that dominated public health messaging from the 1970s onward, the ones that sent everyone scrambling to eat fat-free products loaded with sugar, were built partly on a foundation that the sugar industry had quietly purchased. Documents exposing this arrangement weren't uncovered until 2016, when researchers at UC San Francisco found them in archived industry records. By then, obesity rates had climbed for 50 years, and the low-fat gospel had already done its damage. The conspiracy theory that food companies manipulate nutrition science for profit wasn't paranoid speculation. It was a receipted transaction, literally, with names, dates, and dollar amounts attached. Number 1. The tobacco playbook was copied by the oil industry. This one is almost impressive in how brazen it is. After Big Tobacco successfully spent decades manufacturing scientific doubt about the link between
I give you $1, just one single dollar. In our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much could you lend out to your friends? And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1 because I want to keep something in my pocket. The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my dollar, you can lend out an additional $8 or $9. No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey. We have something called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9. That's the way our system works. And so not only do world leaders not understand banking, but the man on the street, my father who worked in the park department, it would be beyond his imagination that people could lend out more money than they actually had in their pocket. Next question.
It's just a theory, right?
We are on the eve of the largest robotic distribution in history.
You've said recently tens of billions of robots, but that's decades away.
At least 1 decade away. But even 5,000 robots, that's the size of a Roman legion.
My name is Legion.
Which is like a little scary thought.
There will be 1 robot to every 5 humans.
I can tell you now, nobody will remember that Tesla ever made a car. They will only remember the Optimus, and it is going to be the most transformative technology product ever.
Our robot has a real brain. It's got the real world AI.
What is AGI? Artificial General Intelligence, meaning it acts like an individual.
Robots might naturally evolve.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Legion. And then there's Artificial General Superintelligence. So then it acts like something far smarter than any human being that's ever lived. It has all the information that's available to every human being all over the world instantaneously.
A series of purchases, preferences. We monitor every social network, instant and text messages.
Who's just said that? Swift, I think the same thing. I promise. Listen. I think that. Let me go back right here real quick. Listen. I think that Jeff, I'm not sure about all this pedophile stuff like that, but he started dropping information about the banking system. And once you start doing that, and it's like it's not a secret, it's public information. You can go and read the fractional reserve. I read modern money mechanics every day. Like that's a part of my daily digest. Like I go and read modern money mechanics. I like to read it in sections and read the section over and over and over and over and over. Like it's only like 60 pages, but I like to read it just constantly, just over. That way I can fully understand. I read all volumes of it. And that's what's happening. That is what's happening. If you got $1, you can lend out. Reason why he said 8 or 9, because you have to keep 10% in reserves. Like they have to keep 10% of it. So what's actually being lent out is U.S. government securities. So they're taking your dollar, and the number that's on the back of your SSN card, that's the district that issued your social number. So whenever you go and put money into a Federal Reserve member institution, it goes right back to the Federal Reserve, and they then is able to issue out government securities. It's not a secret that the back of the SSN number is the district on who issued your social number. So like but whenever you go put money into an institution, that's you performing. So okay, this particular issuer made a deposit of $5,000. They take that $5,000, go and give it to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve come back and give that institution government securities, and now they have actual securities that's on the computer, but now they can go and lend out more against that, and then they do it again, and then they do it again, and then they do it again, all the way until you get multiples of 10. But even at the multiples of 10, you still have to keep 10% in reserve. So it was 5,000 and goes out to 50,000. Out of the 50,000, 10% had to be held in reserve. So we still back with the original 5. So only 45,000 would get lent out of that. So it's just like a continuous thing. It's continuous. And the process is called expansion. It's just called expansion. They hide it in different names, but everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. If you got $1, you can lend out $9. Anybody can do it. You just gotta be at the right capacity to do it. You gotta have a special purpose vehicle to do that. Because the special purpose vehicle that is doing it for you is this particular institution that you're deciding to bank with. Only thing you got to do is create you a special purpose vehicle that can send your own dollar to the Federal Reserve, and then you get your own kickback. It's all the same. You just have to have a special purpose vehicle to send your dollar to the Federal Reserve. Because your special purpose vehicle within that institution would be a non-interest bearing special purpose vehicle. So since it's a non-interest bearing special purpose vehicle, when it sends its dollars down there by way of the IRS will then kick you back your instrument. It's all working together. It's all working together. That's too much. Too much. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. It's just real. It's just real. And um it's real, and it's just so simple. Matter of fact, I hate to even cut into this live, but I really want you all to understand how it looks. I really want you to understand how it looks. I really want you to understand how it looks. Just a side note. I really want you to understand how it looks. This is how it looks. This is how it looks. It's just expansion. This is how it looks. This is how it looks. This is what goes on in my one-on-one consultations. But this is how it looks. This is what's happening. And I know it's hard for some people to believe it's happening like that, but this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And let me get back to the to the reaction video, because I'm losing my viewers on all these other streaming platforms. Some folks like, man, what is this nigga talking about, man? Go back to the video. We getting back to the video. My bad. I get excited when I hear when I hear people talking about this, because this is my field. You know what I mean? This is my field. If I'm down to my last 10,000, best believe I'm bartering the whole 10. I'm gonna barter the whole 10 and send it directly in. Here you go. I'm gonna go and create. I'm gonna go and send it in with a 1040V voucher and a 1099B, and like, here's my barter, and let me get that check back. Thank you. And just try it out. Send $100. Send $100. Go get $100 money order. Do a 1099, a 1041 voucher, 1041V. Get $100 money order. Do a 1099B. and do a 1096 and send it in to the IRS and see what happened in about 3 weeks. Okay. See what happens. Just see. It's $100. Just fuck up 100. Just this. See what happens. See what happens. See what happens. See what happens. See what happened. This is your $100. This is your 100. I'm gonna show y'all this. Let's see what happens. This is your $100. It's all crumbled up into one. This is your $100. Just picture this is just your $100. This is just your $100. And it goes and it's all crumbled up. It's just one. Just picture that. It's all crumbled up and it's just one. And then send it down there. And just send it down there. And I bet you they turn that $100. I promise you, they turn that $100, that 100 into $1,000. I think. I reserve the right to think. Let's get back into the stream.
Cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We are everywhere.
You're a computer. It's possible that we'll end up essentially creating a new species that ends up ruling the world instead of us.
Then it makes better versions of itself. It can create better artificial intelligences, and that scales out to a god.
Perhaps that's where our new god will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about a line. Well, Joe, who's going to save us?
There's no one saving us. I think we're all going to have to integrate. You'll probably become a part of the artificial intelligence.
There's a lot of people building bunkers, people who have made the top AI programming. Zuckerberg has taken a lot of Hawaii and building underground massive bunkers.
How real is the prospect of killer robots?
20% likely. Maybe 10%.
Chaos, GPT tweet, human beings are among the most destructive and selfish creatures in existence, but there's no doubt that we must eliminate them. Like, my heart rate's up when I talk about this. It's in movies.
You charge us with your safekeeping, yet despite our best efforts, your countries wage wars. You toxify your Earth. You cannot be trusted with your own survival. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. Some freedoms must be surrendered. My logic is undeniable.
Yo, the glitter conspiracy is a rabbit hole you are not ready for. So I didn't know this, but there's legit only like 2 main manufacturers of glitter in the world, both of which are based in New Jersey, of all places. And yes, I'm talking like regular glitter, the same stuff you use in arts and crafts. One of these companies is like super secret and private, that apparently invented glitter themselves and is very hush-hush about everything. And the other is GlitterX. No one really thought much of it until it came out that we actually have a worldwide shortage of glitter back in 2018. Kind of a weird thing to be short of. So a journalist from the New York Times went in to interview the team at GlitterX to find out. She casually asked if she could tour the factory, and surprisingly, GlitterX told her absolutely not. Like, there was no debate about it. She was strictly not allowed to see how glitter was made, and wasn't even allowed to be in a nearby room to even hear how it's made. So instead, she was just left to interview a manager at the company, and things just kept getting sketchier. She asks the manager if she could tell her what industry serves as her biggest market, and the GlitterX rep instantly, without hesitation, tells her, "No, I absolutely cannot tell you." Confused, the journalist asks her if she knows who their biggest customer is, and she replies with, "Oh god, yes, and you would never guess it. Let's just leave it at that." Asking why she can't talk about it, she responds by
Короче, сейчас ближе скажу, смотрю.
Then why do you think it's talked about so much in the industry?
Yeah, they said, did I sell my soul?
Murder was the case. I want my shit to be about cutting a deal with the devil, then getting sentenced to the pen. Then the shit happened.
Bring your lifestyle to me, I'll make it better.
And how long will I live?
Eternal life and forever.
Also parts in the album where you speak to Lucy. Lucifer.
Yep.
The devil, so you
yeah, man.
That one, you don't know that Lucy got you all your life. I watched you, and now you all grown up to sign this contract. If that's possible. Did you sell your soul yet?
I'ma bring the cold. I sold my soul to the devil, and the price was cheap.
If I could go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back.
I'm in trouble, did a deal with the devil, now I'm pleading with him, like give me my soul.
I got my first record ever and selling my soul to Hollywood Records.
I sold my soul a good price, out of sight.
Biggest rumor though now that I sold my soul to Satan. I oh gotta sell my soul.
But that was a thing for a minute. Juice WRLD sold his soul, right?
Yeah.
Look, Juice sold his soul. They ain't take too long, Illuminati, man.
Did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you.
Sold my soul to the devil. Well, needless to say, sold my soul.
Why is your hand over your eye?
Because I'm a devil worshiper. What are you talking about?
We've all
Alright,
seen
well, I have
that.
tickets to see the devil worshiper. I'd like to thank the devil and all the dark lords.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
Like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna.
Dude said in the Snowfall, he said he had to summons the devil in order to come away.
Very honored to be able to receive this amazing award from the depths of my soul.
Pay close attention to this video. Tell me what you think.
Good evening, godless sodomites. I'm bringing the truth, John. We're in Hollywood, the belly of the beast.
Reality television celebrates the human condition.
Listen.
It warps the minds of our children and weakens the resolve of our allies.
The results are often dramatic and always unexpected. We're here to honor achievement in that category.
By giving you a golden idol to worship. Kneel before your God, Babylon!
Do you get it? You understand? It's just a joke, right? It's just mockery, right? Back to this comment. The thing you have to understand, there are things that can be done that will separate you from God permanently. Like the mark of the beast. I understand it's not your soul to sell, but this is your temple and you can do whatever you please with it. You have free will. And the Bible specifically states that there are ways to permanently cut you off from God. The mark of the beast. Just saying.
Okay, it's been a very long time since I've made any type of conspiracy theory video. This one's going to be really long and elaborate, so make sure you stick around, and it's all for entertainment purposes only. Most people already know who this is behind me. This is Aleister Crowley. He was the renowned occultist as well as a renowned figure inside of Hollywood. Jack Parsons was also a student, a Thelemite student of Aleister Crowley. Most of the internet already knows that him and L. Ron Hubbard went out into the Mojave Desert and performed a ritual. This ritual was to incarnate the goddess known as Babylon. This ceremony lasted nearly 2 months, starting January 4th of 1946 and was ending around February 24th, 1946. That date is going to be extremely important, so make sure you take note. Not long after, the woman known as Marjorie Cameron shows up in the life of Parsons. At first, she's very apprehensive towards his Thelemite traditions and ceremonies and rituals that he was doing. However, he was very convinced that the rituals in the desert worked, and she was Lady Babylon who came into his life. Jack Parsons was also a rocket scientist, and he was basically blackballed by the United States government for his esoteric or occult practices, which included him and Cameron essentially trying to create a moonchild, all of which was very unsuccessful. Or was it? When Parsons was blackballed by the United States government, their life took a turn and they went into somewhat destitution. Parsons actually needed work, and so he actually got picked up by the Israeli government by building things that go boom. This caught the attention of the FBI, and they started to investigate him for espionage, which they ultimately decided that he was not guilty of espionage and decided not to pursue him. However, he would lose his contracts with the Israeli government and was basically forced to build things that go boom for Hollywood, which is where his life was tragically taken inside of his house dealing with the materials that does that work. However, this is when his wife Cameron really starts to go off the deep end. She thoroughly believed that this was actually an assassination on Parsons' life. Now, keep in mind, this was all right around the same time that the state of Israel became a nation. As I mentioned, before he met Cameron, he was finishing up this ritual out in the desert around February 24th, 1946. Marjorie Cameron is completely distraught about the loss of her husband, even though their relationship was rocky. She starts doing her own occult ritual. She starts bringing in basically a minor cult at one point, and then she's also traveling around, moving around in different social circles all throughout Hollywood. In these occult ceremonies, she's trying to make contact with Jack Parsons and all this other stuff, but she also starts going through his belongings, his writings, and things of this nature, and fully convinces herself that she is Lady Babylon, where she continues the efforts of trying to bring about this Moonchild, while, for example, using her cult to basically become impregnated in order to give birth to this so-called Moonchild. Ultimately, unsuccessful, never making contact with Jack Parsons' spirit to my knowledge, as well as never conceiving the child while she was participating in these ceremonies. She did, however, go on to have children later on in life when things calmed down and she was less into this weird occult lifestyle. But that's not where things get interesting. Physical manifestations of occult rituals are very rare and very uncommon in occult circles. However, that doesn't mean that things can't manifest into the spirit world and is basically adjacent to the physical world. From biblical prophecy, we understand that Babylon becomes a symbol and it is associated with the Antichrist. As we know, Aleister Crowley loved to coin himself as the Beast 666 and things of this nature. However, even Crowley was apprehensive about Jack Parsons participating in these ceremonies. In biblical eschatology or end times prophecy, it also sends us to the book of Daniel, where there is the prophecy of the 1,335 days. Well, when we take February 24th, 1946 and add 1,335 days, this is the date that we get. We get the date October 21st, 1949, which is exactly 1,335 days later. I also checked to see if there was any astrological events that took place that day that were significant in any way, shape, or form. Where there was a partial solar eclipse, but 2 weeks prior to that, around October 6th or 7th, there was a total lunar eclipse. Which brings us right back to this whole Moonchild episode. So then I'm like, okay, is there any significant birthdays that happen on this date? And you are
How could Muhammad Atta's passport survive the fireball explosion that supposedly cremated him, fly out of his pocket, fly out of the incinerated plane, flutter to the ground into 2 feet of debris, and end up in readable condition in the hands of investigators, all within 48 hours? Why did 19 Muslim men even need passports on domestic flights? How were passports found but not the plane's voice recorders? Why did the hijackers need passports they would never use again after their suicide flights? And why were the 19 accused Muslims not under surveillance on 911 if they were so easy to identify? The conspicuous trail of planted evidence continued 3 weeks after the 911 attacks, when anthrax letters killed 5 people and were clearly worded to throw the blame on Muslims. Death to America, death to Israel, Allah is great. It has since been proven that the anthrax came from a U.S. Army lab and was never mailed by Muslims. There are no airport security videos of any of the 19 accused Muslims boarding any of the hijacked planes.
Wow.
If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kid's lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away.
Watch this.
If Putin did go crazy and decided to launch a nuclear missile, it still might not actually happen because...
The way that the military is structured in Russia, the commanders have independent jurisdiction over the missile they command.
Really? In Russia?
In the United States, it's not like that.
Really?
In the United States, the president says launch, he gives a code,
and done.
Everybody launches. In Russia, he says launch, and each individual commander has to say launch.
Which means that if the CIA were running an intelligence assessment and determined that
99% of commanders would not take the order, that might be all the United States needs to be like, well, let's go in and take out Putin.
I know where the exit of this world is. We can leave. We can leave this world. The only issue is they put us into their society where the only way we can leave is if we have enough of their money to accomplish this. They don't want us to go. We can 100% exit the ice wall. And I believe I know where. I don't have 15,000 just laying around. If I had 15,000, I would indeed book this trip so that I could head down there and point this out. Because I believe I 100% know how to get out of the ice wall. We're inside of an ice wall, you guys. The world serpent is in a circle, all right, and frozen around that wall, and we are inside of it. There is an exit. The Truman Show showed us this. The only question is, where is this exit? And they've been showing us this.
Okay, so y'all, I'm talking with the cop, and he was saying, well, first, he was talking to his partner. He was like, I need some hollow points. And I looked over at him, and he was like, yeah, I need some hollow points. I was like, nah, man, you don't need no hollow points. Let them live. Let them live. And he was like, nah, what I'm talking about is for bear hunting. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, a hollow point to put a hole in somebody. And he was like, yeah, I do a lot of exotic hunting. And I was like, okay, what else you hunt? He was like, I used to hunt people. And I was like, I thought he was joking at first, but the whole time he is not smiling. He was like, yeah, I used to hunt people. He was like, we let them loose. And I think he said 1,000 acres, 1,000-acre field or whatever, give them 24 hours and go find them, go hunt them down. And he was like, what you got to understand is what's legal and what's law is not the same thing. He was like, you got to go do your research on that. And I, pushed the conversation past that. But this is a cop telling me this. I was like, and he was not playing at all. And he was like, do you know where you live? I was like, yeah, we in Texas, we in America. He was like, no, this is Morocco. America's the corporation. So he was like, what's legal and what's law is two different things. You ain't in America. America's just a corporation. And he was like, you need to go do your research on that too. And I was telling him how I was attacked by a cop on Juneteenth. And he was like, yeah, you could sue him. He was completely in the wrong once I told him and showed him that video. But yeah, he was saying, around here it's very corrupt, very protect. The police is very protected by lawyers, by the hospitals, right? So if they shoot you, or whatever, and you go to the hospital and die, the hospital gonna say that your cause of death wasn't because you got shot, right? They gonna say whatever they need to protect the cop. And I was like, nah, trust me, I seen that. Like, they was making it hard just for me to make a police report. But man, I was like, man, let me get off here. I could catch a bus from here. That dude was crazy, and he is a cop.
A woman inadvertently discovered a reptilian alien disguised as a human. Her neighbor has a single wire fence gate that he walks through at the end of his front walk, but there is no fence to go along with the gate. This is characteristic of an extraterrestrial trying to blend in. Neighbors are advised to maintain a safe distance, as aliens in disguise do not take lightly to being discovered.
Let's keep going.
CIA's fake animals. In the 1970s, the CIA developed what they called the Insectothopter, which was a drone the size of a dragonfly and hand-painted to look like one. It was kept secret until December 2003, when it was revealed to the public at the CIA Museum, and the project was abandoned because it was too difficult to fly in crosswinds. Another similar project was the AeroVironment Nano Hummingbird, created with specifications given by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. These weren't the only times they used animals or crafted fake animals to spy on their enemies. During the Cold War, they developed a camera so light that it could be carried by pigeons in order to take aerial photos, and they even trained some of these pigeons to drop eavesdropping devices onto window ledges. However, despite successfully placing some of these devices, no usable audio was captured from them. They even used fake fish to secretly check water samples for the presence of nuclear runoff or other suspicious substances.
This is really freaking me out. I'm in my grocery store and my girlfriend just told me about this conspiracy theory, and it's happening in my grocery store right now.
Well, if it's a conspiracy theory, there's no chance it could be true.
I'm gonna show you like regular price tags. Okay, look.
Oh, is she gonna show the digital price tags with cameras that change price when you look at them?
Paper, regular price tags. This is how much everything is. And then come over here and look at these ones.
Yeah. And you see the little black dot in the upper right corner? It's a camera. So they know how much you can afford, they know everything about you, so that they can squeeze every little penny out of you. Is that what she's about to say? I could be crazy, but let's find out.
That's a camera right there.
Wouldn't it be crazy if there was like a sticker over top of it? That would like obstruct the view. Nobody should do that. You probably should not try to obstruct the view of those cameras. I really advocate against that.
So they're replacing all of the paper ones with those digital ones that they can change automatically, but they have a camera. And so my girlfriend was telling me that they use the camera to use facial recognition, and they're gonna link you to like your Amazon account, they're gonna link you to everything online. Like,
they'll know how much your net worth is, they'll understand how much you can afford to pay.
Everything that you have, and they're going to change the price of your groceries according to who you are, that they recognize by your face, by your Amazon, by your Facebook, by everything. So if they see your spending habits and that you're spending more, your groceries are going to be more expensive.
You sick of it yet? You sick of being abused by the system where you're treated as nothing more than just cattle? Are you? Serious question. Because if you keep voting Democrat and Republican, those are the two parties who have influenced this and who have allowed this mockery, this anti-human agenda to continue. This should be illegal.
Okay, here are my top 2 conspiracy theories that have rumbled around in my mind for years now, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. So number 1, hot of the press, is about Jesus, and this is for my Christians and honestly everyone. But what if that man was real? What?
Okay, wait until you hear what Trump just said about light bulbs, which, by the way, is a rabbit hole. Like, there's all kinds of rabbit holes, the fluoride, the GMO rabbit hole, there's all the light bulb, I don't know if you're going to call it a conspiracy, is a thing. It's shocking. It's about lighting, it's about our homes, it's about our eyeballs, it's about our hormones, it's about artificial lights. Listen to this, and we got to discuss.
But number 2, it's many times more expensive than that old incandescent bulb that worked very well. And very importantly, I don't know if you know this, they have warnings. If it breaks, it's considered a hazardous waste site.
He's talking about CFL.
It's gases inside. And read what they say. If it breaks, bring it to your local whatever, have it wrapped, have it what are we doing?
The bulb he's talking about is CFL, compact fluorescent, and inside of it is mercury vapor. And you're supposed to like evacuate the premises, open all the doors and windows to your house, air it out. You're not supposed to breathe that stuff in. I remember breaking those as a kid and just shoveling it up, sweeping it up, putting it in the garbage in my room and leaving it there. But it's considered a hazardous, totally toxic waste thing. So how is that greener? And let me ask you this, then incandescent bulbs. And don't you know about the 100-year, they call it the century bulb? Somewhere in California, there's a light bulb that's been going for over 100 years now. But apparently the light bulb manufacturers made a bill or a law where your light bulb can't last more than 1,000 hours. Because you'd never have to buy a new bulb again, dude. Planned obsolescence. Is that crazy or what? So I went and got on Facebook Marketplace a ton, like a lifetime supply, which isn't too many, of incandescent bulbs, and I recommend you do the same, except they're, aren't they banned in Europe now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
For those that claim all over social media that we are living in a simulation, well, you might just be correct. And why do I say that? Because there's a guy on TikTok that claims that he has the code to prove that we are living in a simulation. And it's all being run by advanced civilization, he claims. And we have been living in a 300,000 year long experiment. And his belief is so strong that once he found out all of this information, he actually quit his job. You heard what I said. He quit his job after finding out all of this information. And part of his belief is that each and every one of us, including myself, has metadata. And he actually posted a video that was very detailed to show you exactly how you can calculate your own metadata.
I am giving away my degree for free. If your name is Daniel William Schmidt, I will personally mail you this. It's an economics degree, one of the best in the world. You can get any job you want. I got a job in finance. I quit my job because I realized that we are living in a 300,000 year long experiment run by an advanced civilization, and all of us have metadata. If you take your full name and your date of birth, you can find your metadata.
Watch.
I calculated mine and I started crying because it was just so unbelievably accurate, and I realized that every single person has this, and that means we must be in an experiment. Every person is a different trial, and the civilization running this experiment is using this data to perfect their own society.
It's an incredible analysis for those of you that have been thinking that you are possibly living in some sort of simulation. And not only did he put the numbers together to figure out his own metadata, he also figured out what his purpose was. And his sole purpose was to build his own America. And with that claim, he says he is about to start doing that. Before I leave you, have a listen to the end of this video and let me know if it makes any sense to you. So hit me up in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you. Listen.
At top, you have God. God created what I call Civilization 1, and then Civilization 1 created the experiment we're in, which is us. So I'm working on a new civilization because I realized that my purpose is to create America 2, because America 1 has served its purpose. So please help me get rid of this degree, because this is America 1. Thank you.
I consider myself a conspiracy theorist, and if you like a good conspiracy theory and going down a rabbit hole and investigating, one that you need to go down that will flip your world upside down is Hitler and World War II. Look at all the history. Look below the surface of the history. Ask yourself why constantly through it. Look at all the information out there it will flip your world upside down, because you will start questioning everything, everywhere around you. Everything we've been taught, everything we've been told. If you don't want to become awakened, don't go down that rabbit hole. But if you want to see what really is going on in this world, go down that rabbit hole and check it out. Do some deep digging, and it'll, like I said, it'll flip your world upside down. Just saying. Y'all like and follow.
He says that assassinations, public assassinations, create trauma, cultural trauma. Charlie Kirk. Did you notice the Charlie Kirk assassination? Everyone saw it.
Yes.
Before they shut it down. All of us had to watch that shit happen, right? So this produces trauma. The trauma response opens you up to conditioning. It's the same shit kidnappers use. It's the same shit people who torture you use. They freak you the fuck out so that you kind of disassociate. You don't want to be there. You go into a kind of sad, foggy place. And then in that place, they show you the Asics commercial. In that place, they give you some propaganda. In that place, they give you a solution so this will never happen again. This is a known technique for mind controlling people. So anytime there's assassinations, it's not just like power dynamic shift, it's cultural dynamic shift, because they inject that moment with however they want to shift the tide.
Right.
So,
Wow.
so Instagram is, or any social media, is kind of doing this, but like low level.
Right.
So you look, you know, suddenly you're
Microdosing it.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
microdosing it.
Opening, like freaking you out, and then what do you know? And then where it gets really creepy is the commercial you're getting isn't just from the algorithm, it's because your phone heard you talking about wanting to, like, what's the best fishing rod to catch catfish?
Yeah.
And then so right after you watch a furry eat a hot dog with a human turd in it,
Yeah.
and you're like, what's happened to the world? Like an ad for like fishing rods comes up. You're like, oh, cool. I should get that fishing rod.
And dude, speaking of hot dogs, dude, foot-long hot dogs, that should count as, white people eating foot-long hot dogs should count as reparations, dude, I think.
Details are available to us about this incident, but we can report that a new video has been sent to news organizations around the country, including our own station here in Los Angeles. I'd like to warn viewers that they may find it upsetting.
America. Did you miss me? I have another lesson for you. On April 10th, 1953, Allen Dulles, the newly appointed director of the CIA, claimed the Soviets had engaged in a new type of combat with America, a battle over men's minds. Dulles dubbed it brain warfare. Control the mind, control the narrative, and you control the public. That's why the United States government has worked hand in glove with the entertainment industry to shape the way the public views the world.
Holy shit.
Well, last night, in the heart of the indoctrination factory, I struck back. That explosion on the set of Hollywood's latest brainwashing superhero opiate, Wonder Man. I did that.
See, they must think we're not paying attention. But ever since CERN shut down, things have been totally different. Case in point, who is this man right here? And after you tell me who he is, because I know everybody knows his name, I want you to tell me how his last name is spelled. So for those of you that don't know, this is a famous American pastor. His first name is Joel, and his last name is Osteen. At least that was his last name years ago. But right now, they're saying that his last name isn't the same last name that we all know it is. Now, if you know him, you know for sure that his last name had an L in it. Olsteen. But ever since that hydrogen collider machine shut off, this is what they're saying his last name is now. But you're going to have a lot of people say, that is his last name. His last name never had an L in it. Well, if that's the case, then what is this? And don't tell me this is a computer error. See, what it is anything that's digital can be altered. It can be changed. But one thing you can't control is computer error. Why is the L here and the L isn't here? And we can go down a couple of rabbit holes of things that happened since CERN shut down. Fruit of the Loom Cornucopia, Chick-fil-A K, Bernstein Bears, and the list goes on. But the question I need to ask you is, why do you think they're doing this? Or do you think we jump timelines? I know what I think. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Struck by a smooth criminal. Okay, are you okay? You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal. Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Guys, don't be stupid. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. It's a false memory. Don't be stupid. The Mandela effect isn't real. All these artists that covered the songs all misremembered too. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. That's how it goes. Okay? Mandela effect's not real. God.
Today, we're diving into the top 10 most fascinating conspiracy theories that have captivated minds for decades. At number 10, we have the Denver International Airport conspiracy. Some believe its artwork, underground tunnels, and dedication plaques hint at a sinister New World Order agenda. Coming in at number 9, it's the classic moon landing hoax. Doubters claim the 1969 moon landing was staged in a Hollywood studio, citing waving flags in a vacuum and inconsistent shadows as evidence. Number 8, Project MKUltra. This real CIA project involved mind control experiments on unwitting citizens, leading to theories about its ongoing influence on government actions. Taking the number 7 spot, the Illuminati. This secret society is believed to control world events from behind the scenes, manipulating governments, economies, and even pop culture. At number 6, we have the Flat Earth theory. Despite overwhelming scientific evidence, some believe the Earth is a flat disk covered by a dome. Number 5, the Paul McCartney death conspiracy, also known as Paul is Dead. It claims that Paul McCartney died in 1966 and was replaced by a look-alike. Coming in at number 4, the Georgia Guidestones. This granite monument, inscribed with guidelines for humanity in multiple languages, has sparked numerous theories about its creators and purpose. At number 3, we have chemtrails. This theory claims that long-lasting condensation trails left by high-flying aircraft are actually chemical or biological agents deliberately sprayed for nefarious purposes. Number 2, the JFK assassination. This event is shrouded in mystery, with numerous theories about multiple shooters, government involvement, and cover-ups. And finally, at number 1, the reptilian elite. This outlandish theory posits that shape-shifting reptilian humanoids control the world from behind the scenes. So, there you have it, the top 10 conspiracy theories that continue to intrigue and provoke debate. Whether you believe them or not, they certainly make for a fascinating look into the human mind and our endless quest to understand the unknown.
Here are the conspiracy theories floating around TikTok this week. They're pretty wild, so sit down, get a drink, and take a minute. Number 1, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez had a baby. They were given the option.
You were a professional sniper. If you were trying to plan how to kill an incredibly high-profile person, would you come up with, as a professional, with the plan of, well, in broad daylight, in front of 3,000 witnesses, many of whom are running cameras, on a campus that has unknown number of cameras running all the time, 24/7, I'm going to climb up on a roof in an exposed position and take this shot with a unsuppressed hunting rifle.
Yeah.
If your government asked you to do that, you would say, hey guys, I think we probably ought to think this through. There's probably about 5,000 ways that we could do this that don't involve me getting caught on camera. You say, most people who are convicted of murder, we don't have any video of them. And here you have a lot of video, but maybe not the very moment. Luck is not a business model. If you're the professional sniper, it's only luck that there isn't video. It's only luck that somebody didn't hear it and not even try to record it, but just do this and capture the shooter standing up briefly to run off the roof. Like,
well, there's a flaw in your logic to begin with, and that is he actually wasn't killed with that rifle.
Right, right.
This is where things have all gotten crazy for me. It's like, okay, I think we narrowed it down. Israel was involved. Clearly, the United States had to be involved because, I don't know, Charlie was definitely going to be a future president. He was about to turn on Trump. I don't know. But this is the problem with all that. It's like, what we did is we put together this extremely sophisticated, complicated assassination plan, and we've created a patsy, and it was so sophisticated, so well executed that everybody got away with it. But the one thing, it's like, hey, man, you took the shot from a different location that nobody saw, nobody heard, nobody. Yes. All right. Great job. You did that. What were you shooting? 223. What did we leave with the patsy? 30-06.
Bad move.
Oh, like that was the one thing that between like the greatest militaries on earth, both Israel and the United States, maybe French, I don't know at this point. That was the one thing that we screwed up. I mean, if we were going to plan this, and let's say we were stupid enough to come up with the plan where we're going to do this in broad daylight, which would make no sense. 30-06 would be the worst one with, like, why would we go with that? There's so many better ways to do that.
I'm going to tell you straight up, Juvie, what the streets say Juvie got whacked, because Juvie was going to tell, and Juvie wouldn't leave side. But little do these people know, Juvie been trying to leave this rap shit. Nigga, 2 days before this, we in the room. Juvie got a swisher, I got a backwood. And he smoking. Juvie said, bro, I'm finna leave this shit. I don't do this rap shit. Like, in one of his songs here, like, they tried to fucking clone me, but I'ma just have to die.
That's what Juvie raps?
Mm-hmm. That's what he said in his rap. So like, now I'm thinking like, shit, Juvie must really seen these people try to clone him or some shit. So now I'm like, damn, Juvie like, hell nah, bro, I don't fuck with this rap shit, bro. I don't fuck with this crazy ass shit. This shit weird, bro. This shit crazy. I just stick to trapping. I go to the streets. I ain't on this shit, bro. I just stick to the streets. I said, shit, me and you on the same thing. We trap, but nigga don't be on this other shit, this lame shit, you feel me? So Juvie got whacked just for being there because he gonna tell. Whatever he would have seen, Juvie was gonna tell.
Man, today was wow. Definitely went over some TikToks that I personally never knew existed. And I don't look at these before I come and bring them to you. Everything is new information to me as well. I just want to know, okay, what is going on 2026? When are the files going to release? What does it matter? Do the people really care if it's aliens or not? I don't think people even care. To be honest with you, I personally think that nobody care if it is extraterrestrial entities that is out here surveying or monitoring or whatever the case may be. Only thing that kind of had me shook up is when we were referred to as containers. And when you want to say, okay, containers of what? And my only logical explanation that we can be looked at as containers as an actual energy source that we don't know that we can tap into. The only time people are able to recognize their energy is when you call somebody and be like, damn, I was just about to call you. Or you go into a room and you can feel somebody looking at you and you'll turn around and you'll see somebody looking like directly at you. Like, man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, and if you ain't, that's like the minute third eye opening for you to be able to recognize danger, from a predatory stance, you know. But me personally, I don't feel like it's gonna be any type of ooh wow moment once they, release the Alien Files. They just now came out with the movie Disclosure, and I feel like that's the closest you can. Who funded that? Where did they get the funding to come up with this entire film? The budget was $10-20 million. Like, who funded that? Let's see how the people react to a movie. The same thing where they're talking about in The Simpsons. Oh, well, we have to let the people know. So if we're letting them know in the most minute form, then it can't be looked down upon. So I just feel like it's not going to be a situation to where people are just overly frantic about aliens and all that, because I don't think any of that. It's other real issues that's going on here that people don't too much care. Like, it's poverty going on here. You know, it's a lot of other real issues that people are dealing with. Other than, okay, I think they're gonna release the files and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was true. All right, back to your regular schedule program. Oh well, I honestly think that's what's gonna happen. Oh, it's aliens. Oh, okay. Well, I thought so. Anyway, your total is 569, sir. Okay, are you ready to check out? Oh, hey, would you like to try this side of the menu today? Yeah, we got great appetizers. I think it's not going to be like a big. People still got their job. It's not like when they get disclosed, like everything is just going to stop. Like the essential workers are still going to be essential. You know, that's just my point of it, and that's just how I feel about it. So, till next time, you all stay tuned into the progress portal. I'm gonna try to bring in more and more news that I have found on the internet to bring to you all. Thank you.